I talked to a pretty good source that knows you pretty well. Back in community college, I heard that at one point you were contemplating to become an attorney. Do you regret your decision?
Yes, I do. 100% I do. But my constitutional law professor told me that I would make a great one. But he told me I should get out of it. He said, "You're not built for the grind." I said, "Yeah, you're probably right about that."
You have 5 people participating in senior day tomorrow, a few different classes in there. Just what can you talk about this particular group and what they've meant to the program?
Yeah, it is kind of a hodgepodge kind of group, but interesting that they've all had their, obviously Sarah Williams is new to the scene, so she, has a history that we don't know about, haven't experienced, except for a short period of time. But all the other ones, even though they're, different background, different, I don't even know if they came together sometimes. Sometimes, I look back and I forget when these guys got here because some have been here so long. But they've all had one similarity, and that is they've all had to endure a really difficult journey here. From all the injuries and all the wasted time on the bench, not having an opportunity to play for so long. That's not the greatest college experience. So I kind of feel it's difficult to come out on senior night when you feel like you haven't had a great 4 years. Some people go to college for 4 years or 5, and they can look back on all the great experiences that they've had. Now, that doesn't mean that these guys didn't have great experiences along the way, but not the kind they came here for on the court. Maybe off the court, they got exactly what they were looking for. But on the court, I'm just disappointed for them that they weren't able to experience what they came here for.
With Jana and Ice having the redshirt years but choosing to walk tomorrow, just kind of what are the conversations like with them? You've obviously been through that a few times the last couple of years.
Yeah. I ask all the time, when they ask me to do this, and it happened, like you said, a few times. Does this mean you're leaving? It's over, right? Well, I don't know. Maybe not. So we gotta put an end to this. Multiple senior nights for people. But no, they all asked, can I? And I said, sure. But there's not been any discussion of, other than me saying, that's it. It's over. We're not doing these. We're not doing these over and over and over again. They're like, yeah. We got it. Okay. So that's kind of where all that is.
When seniors get to this point in their career, do they start trying to do things that maybe they hadn't been doing because they're running out of time?
I think it goes one of two ways. Sometimes it goes to scared, anxious, unsure. What am I going to do? Where am I going to go? What's going to happen? Because, when you're in college, those of us that have that opportunity, you're kind of living in a fairy tale world. Everything's done for you. Everything's kind of laid out for you. And so it scares some people, and they don't enjoy their senior years. They're so worried about what's next. And then others, they kind of thrive in it. This is my last chance to get some things done that I want to get done, and they end up having a great senior year. Now, with Carol, Ice, Jana, it's been a real struggle to get time on the court. But for AZ, you know, I watch her and I don't see, there may be, I don't know, I can't read her mind, but I don't see anything on the court that leads me to believe that she's treating this any way other than, I'm just going to enjoy this. I'm just going to enjoy this. But yeah, in past years, I've had to have those discussions with players, you know, centered around, it's going to end. Right? It's going to end. You know, you talk to them in September, you see them in September, and you go, you know, come April, it's over.
What has Sarah Williams brought to the program for you this year? And has she lived up to your expectations?
I don't know. I would think if you would ask her, she probably hasn't lived up to her own expectations. And a lot of that is, you know, there's still a month left in the season, hopefully, that you can figure out how you want those expectations to be either fulfilled or not fulfilled. You know, there's been moments where I think it's been exactly what we wanted, and maybe it's been exactly what she wanted. And there's been, you know, moments when, you know, could have been better, could have gone a different direction, but through it all, you know, she's, you know, kind of been out there and in every game, so to speak, you know, there's been glimpses of what we thought we were getting, and as far as that's concerned, you know, I've said it before, it's really, really difficult to come in here for 1 year and have the kind of impact that you would think you have. For guards, it's a little bit easier. It's a little bit easier for guards, I think. For big kids, I think it's a difficult transition. And I've noticed in the last 2 weeks that, you know, there's been a little bit of a difference, you know, and how she's approaching this. So I kind of like that.
AZ has been so good in the first quarter, the first half recently, carrying the offense through some rough stretches, but earlier in her career, it was a lot of third quarter breakouts or second half explosions. Just what has she done to be so good early in games when she used to just be so comfortable sitting back and waiting for it to come to her?
Maybe less options. I mean, you think about some of the players that she's played with here, you know, there were maybe times when she felt like, well, they don't need me right now, which kind of is AZ a lot of times, aren't they? You know, in the past, they don't really need me right now, so I can just kind of chill. And now maybe this year she looks around and she sees how much, you know, we have to have her. We have to have her playing well, you know. And I had a conversation with actually the whole team and told them, you know, we need these two guys here to play great every night. And that can either scare you, bring more pressure, but tough. That's just the way it is. You know, you have the privilege of having the opportunity to be told that. I'm not saying that to everybody else, but we need you two to play great every night. So I think she and Sarah have taken it to heart for the most part, because that's who you are. That's your lot in life right now. You know, we need you to play great every night. And that goes for every year, you know, your best players. It's not like they have a choice either. Well, I don't know if I want to. Well, tough. You know, you don't have a choice. And I think that's maybe why a lot of times our seniors have, you know, our best players when they're seniors really have good senior years. You know, it's, when you're forced to do something, you generally do it better than if you have a choice.
You have always called Caroline the greatest teammate, even if she wasn't playing, even if she was going through her recovery. Have you ever had a player this dedicated to coming back and to still being a positive source, even if their, you know, off-court life wasn't going the way they expected?
I mean, I don't know that that we've been in a situation where someone went from freshman year having a role that was okay in the beginning and then becoming the biggest role on the team because of circumstances, and then having it all kind of go away so quickly, and then kind of drip, for the next 3 years. So I don't think we've ever been in that situation before that I can remember. I mean, there might have been, but I do think that you always have an opportunity to figure out what your impact is going to be on a team. Like I was talking about, AZ and Sarah's impact is going to have to be huge in every area.
For AZ and Carol, obviously, to different extents, but all that they've gone through, to see them get to walk together tomorrow, is that kind of extra meaningful for you after the ups and downs the last few years?
But they were a year behind Paige?
Yeah.
Is that what it was?
Last time.
Yeah, they were a year behind. It's weird that the relationship that players start to have with whatever incoming class they come in with, there's this feeling of we're all tied in together, and like we all landed here at the same time, and we all want to fly out of here at the same time, even though our experiences maybe weren't exactly the same. So I'm sure the two of them sit on the back of the bus and can talk about, all the scars that they have, mental scars, physical scars, all the great times that they've had here. And I don't know that going out there by yourself and saying, okay, we only have one person walking on senior night, that would be kind of like looking around like, so it's always good when you've got company out there, and it's special when it's somebody that you've spent that much time with.
You said so many times that once you get to this part of the season, as a team and a player, you're pretty much who you're going to be. But does Sarah Williams have an added, thing with her because she's been so dominant or productive early in her career?
I don't know. I mean, we're coming to a part of the season that she's not familiar with. So I'm anxious to see how that plays out for her. We're going to go to the Big East tournament as the favorite. I don't know, she's never been in that situation. We're going to the Big East tournament, and if we don't win it, it's a huge disappointment. The world's going to end if we don't win the Big East tournament. Then we're going to play in the NCAA tournament, which she has no experience with. So what's coming up next is totally foreign to her. And so, I would think that that's exciting, but it can also be a little bit daunting, So, maybe it's a good sign that she's practicing differently this last week, 10 days or whatever. So maybe she understands what's coming. She had a really good third quarter the other night, right? Mm-hmm. And you can ask her, like, where'd that come from? Well, I was mad because I got benched. All right, then I'll just keep benching you. I mean, like, that shouldn't be the, So I think if she can keep replicating that without the benching part, then I think she'll have a great next month.
Are you talking to them at all about the draft, about kind of what's next, and are there things you feel like either of them kind of need to show to scouts down the stretch here?
No, I try not to do that because we have a lot of players that don't listen on my team. Not you two. Yeah. No, because it's probably already in there, and I don't know where to go with it at this point in the season right now. I think there's going to come a time in the near future, but it may be a conversation that resonates more with Sarah Williams than it does with AZ. I think everybody knows this is who AZ is. I mean, I think she probably wanted to come back. I know she wanted to come back for one more year, because if you ask everybody around the country, hey, AZ Fudd, they go, yeah, that's a kid that used to be a really good shooter. She used to play at UConn, you know? And they saw her then all of a sudden, you know, at the end of last season. And now can she hold up for an entire season and do what she did for an entire season? And for the most part, I think they've seen that. You know, they've seen that. Where that puts her in the draft, I don't know. I mean, it's you know, it's weird the way people look at drafts. I mean, I might see one thing, they might see something completely different. I don't know. But we certainly had enough coaches and general managers and whoever come here or be at our road games that, you know, I think they know we're. For Sarah Williams, maybe there's an opportunity to, you know, she's going to get drafted. It's just a matter of, all right, what can you show us? You know, maybe show them, but through us, because we need to see it. Forget them. So, yeah, that'll be a conversation, I think, sometime between the end of the season and the Big East tournament, maybe. No.
You referred to Jana as one of the most athletic bigs you've had, even though her game is still working its way back. Where have you seen her confidence grow this year? That now that she's back, maybe not getting so many minutes as she used to, but now she's getting more reps underneath her.
Yeah, it's been odd. It's been weird a little bit in that respect. That
Hey. We'll be back, don't worry.
Thanks for the warning. You know, with Jana, it's been. We were just saying over there, if you know that old saying, if it wasn't for bad luck, she would have no luck at all. You know, it seems like every little thing that could possibly happen has happened, and just when you think you've seen it all, something else pops up. But yeah, I don't think she's gotten the opportunity to have enough reps in practice, not enough time during the off season. She's so, you know, she's way behind. But this year she's had an opportunity to be on the court more often, to be able to work on the things that, you know, she wanted to work on to get better at. So we'll see where that takes us.
This group has gone through a lot of adversity in terms of injuries and so forth, but yet they won a national championship last year, and there's a possibility this year. What does that say about this group of players?
Well, you know, they've hung in there, but it would have been easy to kind of feel sorry for yourself and woe is me, and not rehab the right way, and you know, figure out a way to do something different than what it takes to play here. But I think that's you know, that's a sign that, you know, they're a great group of guys. You know, they're great kids. They're really invested in the program. They're invested in the team, and they're invested in their teammates. And I mentioned this today. I said, you know, we have 4 players out on the floor today at one time that, you know, played an awful lot in the national championship game in the Final Four. And then we have some other players who experienced all that, and you would think that it's benefited everybody in some way, shape, or form. Hopefully, it's something that they'll look back and say, I didn't get a chance to do what I wanted to do as much as I wanted to do, how I wanted to do it. But, you know, I was part of a national championship team, and that means a lot.
How's Ice doing, just mentally, physically, after her season officially being done?
That's another one, you know. You go from not being able to play as soon as your career started, you're out. You miss the whole year, have to rehab and do all that, and then you know, work your way back and be on the Big East All Tournament team, and wow, you know, this is going to be great. And then one setback after another, and so I think it was really disappointed. You know, she was. I thought the first 2 weeks of training camp this year, she looked like she had worked really, really hard. But that knee's just been bothering her for so long, and it just kept holding her back, and hopefully this is it. This is the last of it. But you know, when people open up your knee again, you know, it's complicated. So I had an MRI last week, and I asked the woman, I said, how's it look? She said, well, I've seen a lot better ones. I was like, okay, great. So over time, you know, once they get inside there and you got to live with that, things are never the same again. So hopefully, you know, but this is going to be a long rehab for her, really long.
Azzy's talked a lot about how much this program has challenged her, both as a person and a player. Where have you seen that growth from her the most over her 5 years here?
Let me see. I don't know. That was Azzy freshman year. I just did. Okay. So how much has she grown? Well, she actually answers your question. So from that respect, you know, she's become more confident, better able to just be herself, and, you know, feel like I can have, you know, some kind of normal relationship with you all and whatever, you know, all of us. I think she was much more guarded, much more close to the vest when she first got here, and I think she's much more open, much more engaging with people, and trying to have a lot more fun with what she's doing. So in that respect, you know, she's always been a great kid. She's always been a good student. She's always done all the things she needs to do. Works hard in practice, diligent in everything she does. And I think that's what you want, you know, when players come to play here is, yeah, you want them to become better players. You want them to achieve whatever goals that they have, but you know, you want them to change. You know, you want them to grow. You want them to become more self-confident and sure of themselves. And you hope that for everybody. And some people take longer than others. But she's, I think she's has found her stride, found her voice, and trying to get her to be a little more assertive in some things. But from where she was when she got here, she's come a long way.